Hello and welcome to this short video where we're going to be running a test on the gelation of agarose. I'm going to show you just how easy it is to use the Elastisense Bio to set up a test, and then we'll also go over visualizing the data and exporting the data when you're done. So the first thing that we're going to do is choose how many samples to use. The Elastisense can measure 3 samples simultaneously. If you need to, you can also measure just 2 or just 1 samples, but today we'll use 3. Next, we're going to give each sample a project name and a test name. This way, if we want to repeat a test on the same sample on another day, we can load up the same project name and enter a new test name. That way, both of the tests will be saved under the same project, and we can see the data as one continuous curve. So here you can enter the project name and also the test name. I've already got it set up to have agarose 1 as the first sample name, agarose 2 as the second, and agarose 3 as the third. Next, we're going to set up the measurement parameters. So what this does is it tells the instrument how long to run a test for and how long it should wait between measurements. So today we'll set it up to run for 60 minutes, and there's going to be a time step of 10 seconds between each measurement. Finally, we can control the temperature of the thermal chamber. On the Elastisense, it can go from 5 degrees all the way up to 70 degrees, but today we're going to be using it at 25 degrees Celsius. There's 2 more steps we need to take before we can load our samples. The first is to initialize a new test. So when I press this button, the instrument just makes sure that we've input all of our data correctly and that there are no errors. And next, we have to calibrate the empty sample holders. So as you can see, we've already loaded our empty sample holders and they're at the correct temperature. So we're going to close the lid and then just calibrate those. Now the calibration is done, so you can see that was very rapid and easy to do. Next, we're going to load our samples. So we're just going to load 2.5 milliliters into each sample holder. Now close the lid and press start. When you go to the dashboard tab, you can see the results in real time as they show up. And we're just going to come back, let this run for a little bit, and see you in a few seconds. Alright, so now it's been half an hour and we can see how our samples have done. If you take a look at them, you can see that they're completely formed a gel now. And we can also quantitatively examine that by looking at the information on the screen. So over here on the touch screen, we can see both G prime, which is this green line, and tan delta. And you can display them or turn them off by clicking the little check boxes beside what their names are. So the other things that you can look at on this screen are the rate of gelation. So you can see here that the fastest rate was around 40 pascals per second for this sample. We also have a record of the height, so this sample was about 8 millimeters tall. This is useful to see if your sample is swelling or degrading over time. And while the experiment is running, you can also get a numerical readout of the different values that are being calculated here. So if you want to compare the data with other experiments, you can check out the display database by going here, opening up the folders that we made, and adding the individual tests. So I'll add Agarose 3 first. There's the lovely curve, and we can compare it to Agarose 2. And there's both of them together. And you can pull this up after you've run your test and compare other tests at longer times. So lastly, we're going to see how to export data to a USB key. So you can just plug your USB key into the port that's in the machine, go to the Export Tests, and then you have to open the Archived Test Explorer. Again, we're going to open the folders that our tests are in. Then we're going to add all of these tests from the project files. Select OK, and then we can either export it to a USB key or export to the network if you've hooked your instrument up to the network. So today I'm going to export it to the USB key. It's very straightforward. You just press this button, and shortly it will tell us that they've been exported. And the format is they're all in Excel files, so they're easy to use. So thank you for taking the time to watch this demonstration. Hopefully you've learned a little bit, and if you have any other questions, feel free to contact us at reolution.com.